Hello there. So I thought I would do a series of videos on stress and what I consider to be the 4 or 5 best ways to regulate yourself. So this first video isn't going to really explain a way. It's going to explain why this is important to you and what you need to know. Now, I've been the OG of teaching manifestation for, since before the movie The Secret came out, right? So I've been in this world for quite a while. And I started probably about, 10 books ago, talking about survival versus thrival. Surviving versus thriving. In fact, in my book, Mind Over Matter, and it's the green book with the butterfly on it, which includes my memoir, by the way, the first section of it. If you want to know all the trials and tribulations I had to go through, so you better understand why what I've done with my life is right up there with pretty good, right? Because I was definitely someone who lived in fight or flight. And the name of the book is actually Mind Over Matter, Going from Surviving to Thriving. So in that book, I discussed stress and, explained some of the things I'm going to explain here in a very brief way. But now if you are online, unless you live under a rock, if you're online, you are hearing Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, nervous system dysregulation. You're hearing it like it's some big new thing. And it's not. It's stress. But now we know through medical science and neuroscience that what's really happening during stress is that our nervous system is becoming or already is dysregulated. So that's a real key right there. When your nervous system is already dysregulated, then things in your external environment trigger it. It's a whole different matter than if you have a regulated nervous system and you get triggered from something. So in other words, if you have a normal nervous system, and I say normal with much hesitation because in our society today, unless you live off grid or unless you're one of those rare unicorns who are not scrolling Facebook or TikTok and you're just nothing to do with social media and you stay away from the news and you don't, buy into any of the sky is falling, hype, then you may be someone who has a regulated nervous system. Or even if you do involve yourself in that a little bit, maybe you have a yoga practice or a meditation practice, and so you don't go off all the time. Someone who has a dysregulated nervous system is already all jacked up. They're already, I'm going to tell you what that is because I don't want you to think it's your fault, because it's not. So we can call it stress, we can call it living in fight or flight, and we can call it living in survival mode. So let's look at how this comes to be and how it messes with your manifestation, making it mismanifestation, right? If you go to manifest the love of your life and your nervous system is so dysregulated, you're going to manifest either a real bum, someone who is detrimental to your well-being, or you're going to hear crickets, empty bed, empty closet. It's not happening. And what I realized, I wish I had a copy of my new book here. I'll make sure I bring it for the second video. The whole reason I wrote this book, which is called The Superconscious Solution, Soul-lution, Manifestation for Stressed Out People, is because I realized, a couple years ago, that we are a society living in stress and survival mode. And there's just so much information out there on how to manifest. I mean, you can't even scroll through Facebook or Instagram without seeing, manifestation, coaching, and, all of this stuff. How I manifested $10 million. And I know some of these people, and they are telling the truth. But what they're not telling you, and not because they're mean or unethical, I shouldn't say that, in most cases, the ones I know are ethical, but because they don't have a nervous system dysregulation issue to begin with. So I know one woman, a very successful coach who's made millions of dollars, and she teaches, wait for it, old school metaphysics. She teaches Neville Goddard, Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsh, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay. There's nothing new here. There's nothing new. The secret. You're gonna close your eyes and you're gonna manifest whatever it is you want. And it worked for her. And it worked for her because she did not have a nervous system dysregulation issue. And I only know this from being in conversation with her. I could have told you. She could have had one and then cured it, which is what this series is about. I want to help you regulate your nervous system so that you can manifest. But I'm here to tell you, if you have a dysregulated nervous system, manifestation should not be your first focus. It can be simultaneous. You can be working on your nervous system and manifestation, which I'm a big fan of. In my coaching, I want my coaching clients, especially my people in business or authors writing a book, or, someone looking for a better job, whatever it is, I want them taking action while we're working on their nervous system. But if you don't work on someone's nervous system while you're teaching them the manifestation, they're going to be the clients that get away and say, yeah, I didn't really manifest what I wanted in working with her. And I can't have that. I mean, your reputation is all you have. So that's why I've gotten really diligent about, if you want to work with me, buy a 6-month program, or, sign up for however many sessions, whatever I've got going on, that's going to be part of the deal. Okay. And, and I'll give you an example. I love Joe Dispenza. He's a great, great guy. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I really love what he does. And there's some people who go to his events, his week-long, his 7-day, his 5-day, his 10-day events, and they jump out of wheelchairs and they heal cancer. And they have, amazing stories. But he has thousands of people at those events. And I don't think you could say that for every single person. I think a lot of people love it and had a really great experience. But I do believe that the segment of those who did not get the profound healings is because their nervous system was so dysregulated, they were not able to get to the higher level that he teaches. And I'm definitely not knocking Dr. Joe. I love him. And if you did it 5-10 days in a row, I'm guessing that you could get there, even with a dysregulated nervous system, if you could sit still long enough. See, the challenge that I have especially with the population I work with, high achieving power players, top producing real estate agents, people who want to be coaches or write a best-selling book, and people that are go, 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 go. And they may have a hard time, because part of my foundation of teaching and coaching is you have to do my medications. I've got dozens of medications and hypnotherapies. But if you can't even get yourself relaxed enough to do the 2 things that are required for manifestation, no matter what everyone tells you, I don't care if you read Louise Hay or Neville Goddard, or anyone who teaches manifestation. I don't care what movies you watch. The movie that I was in called The Frequency of Miracles, which will come out in January 2026, finally. There's a lot of really, really big headliner names in there too. I just have a little tiny part. The point being that it all boils down to 2 things: frequency and focus. What you're imagining and what you're feeling. But the challenge and the problem, which has always been, which is why the nervous system dysregulation is so vital to manifestation, is this: if you are so stressed out, even in your relax mode, where your body doesn't really go into rest and digest, it's going to be very hard for you to vividly imagine the vision that you want. Or if you've come from trauma or just always feel like you're battling your world, you might not be able to think big enough. You might not be able to conjure up a vision that is truly in alignment with your values, that really excites you so much you can't wait to bounce out of bed in the morning. Some of us have been stuffed down, especially women, have been stuffed down for so long. Don't make a fuss, don't speak out. This is a man's world, and of course, this is not true for all of us, but a lot of us, and that includes me for sure. It's, as the generations shift a little bit, I'm seeing less of it. I'm seeing with my 30 and 40-year-old women clients, they have less of that. But if you're over 50, you definitely were told, to look pretty and not make a big fuss, for the most part. So that being said, if your nervous system and your belief system is so enshrined in that thinking and that stress level, then the idea of using your imagination, allowing yourself to use your imagination to conjure something up that is what you've always dreamed of, may be so hard, if not impossible. I have people who come to me and they just want to double their business, but they can't even imagine what that looks like, or they can't imagine it long enough to conjure up the feelings. Remember, I just said focus, it's focus and frequency. Your frequency is how you feel, it's your emotions. So the 2 keys to manifestation, and I've done lots of videos and talked about it, is seeing it in your imagination, but it has to be in a relaxed brainwave with your right hemisphere. You don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is focus on getting relaxed and having your brain waves relaxed using the, I provide all my clients with the audios, and then seeing it with such clarity and certainty. I can give you the music. I can do the things and teach you to do the things that will relax your nervous system, but you've got to see the image of what you want. Is it being a best-selling author? Is it being a millionaire? You have to really allow yourself to see it to such an extent that you feel it with such intensity that you've created it in the quantum field. And that is how this works. And I don't care who tells you that there's some manifestation secret that you don't know about. It's not true. Those are the 2 things. That's it. I've studied this stuff for over 30 years. And so I'm telling you the truth. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on all sorts of mind-body manifestation, altered states of consciousness, enlightenment, across all different disciplines. So I speak the truth when I tell you it boils down to what you can envision and what you can feel. Those are the 2 keys. And now let's move to the purpose of this video. If you can't get yourself in a relaxed state of consciousness, those 2 things, not going to matter. You will not reach it. You will not reach the level of clarity in the vision that you need to imagine, and you will not be able to achieve and cultivate the elevated emotions of joy and gratitude with an open heart. So let's look at why this is. So when we are young, and this can be, I know of a story of someone who was born blind and deaf, because when he came out of the mother, he was deformed. This is a story that I heard with Dr. John 𝒂𝒂𝒂, that the guy saw the infant naked, laying in its mother's, chest on her chest right after birth, and the husband pushed it off onto the floor. If you can imagine that, what a, and the child hit the floor. The child was okay, but it was, well, not okay, obviously, but it was blind and deaf. And in working with, there's my dog's butt, Sierra, not polite. When working with 𝒂𝒂𝒂, he began to hear and see. So, I mean, everything is connected to what I'm talking about here. You have to understand that. I'm not going to go into that story, but I really want you to get how our nervous systems get dysregulated from birth, if not before, on. So what happens when we're little is we get scared. Something in our environment changes. Maybe our mom yells. Maybe we get actually physically abused. Maybe we get abandoned. Maybe our parents get divorced. Maybe the kids at school laugh at us. Whatever happens that didn't feel good, our brain wanted to protect us. Remember, the brain's main objective is for you to survive. So your nervous system, which is your brain stem, all the way down, right? It's your nervous system. Your nervous system said, these feelings aren't safe to feel, so I'm going to put you on high alert. In other words, with your nervous system, you have 2 branches. You have the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest, and you have the sympathetic, which is fight or flight. So when things happen in your environment, maybe a loud sound, your body goes into fight or flight. And that means that you are designed in fight or flight to run or to fight. And that's good. But then the idea in the design of a human being is so that once we've gotten to safety, once we've fought the battle or outrun the predator, that we can rest and digest and thrive. But what happens with a lot of us is the loud noise, the abandonment. It just keeps going and going and going. And before too long, we're in a chronic state of survival. You know what I'm talking about? This is when the panic attacks come. And it doesn't always get that bad for some people, but it does for a lot of people. And you are always in that constant state. Well, what do we know about people who live in a constant state of survival mode? And, you know, neuroscience has progressed like crazy over the last decade. What we know is that your brain your amygdala is always throwing signals, not a safe environment. It's always scanning. Is this safe? Not a safe environment. Not a safe environment. And that is accompanied by cortisol and adrenaline. And as long as cortisol and adrenaline are pumping it through your body and fueling you, you are not going to be able to relax and say, oh, let me meditate what I want to create in my life. It ain't happening. It's just not going to happen because your brain is telling you, no, you are not safe. You are not safe. So you know, when I'm saying this, you know if I'm talking directly to you, if you have panic attacks, if you always feel stressed out, if you have to go home and have, wine every night, maybe you gamble, maybe you spend money you don't have to spend, because you're always looking for that dopamine hit, which is what addiction is based on, because when you get that dopamine hit, it washes the stress away. Now, I'm not saying that people, like, for example, who are in extreme sports necessarily are living in high stress. They could be. But I'm just saying that a lot of people will seek relief by avoiding the feeling of stress. So maybe it's porn, maybe it's shopping, maybe it's drugs or alcohol. But those things are avoidance. They're for your avoidance. You want to avoid the feeling of what you don't want to feel. Okay, so it's quite common in people who have had trauma to have an avoidance strategy. And you have to understand it's not your fault. You have that avoidance strategy because it's so damn uncomfortable to feel the emotions that you don't want to feel. And so I just drink it away, right? Or I just smoke it away, or whatever it is. I just vape it away. So, other signs though, people who have it less: procrastination, self-sabotage, just not showing up, not speaking out, not getting behind the camera, whatever it is, oftentimes. And I'm going to tell you, all chronic pain and most all diseases have a nervous system dysregulation issue behind it. That's very true. It's been known. There's a book called, there's more books, and I'll talk about them as we go, but whatever his name was, The Body Keeps Score, The Body Doesn't Lie, The Many Stories of the Body. My latest one I've been reading is The Mind-Body Solution, whatever it's called. But all of diseases, I don't care what anyone says, all diseases, accidents, wars, divorces, 98%, I would say. I want to give that little wiggle room just in case there's just a really extraordinarily, this was a soul contract type thing. And I do believe that that's possible as well. But I think that 98% of the time, our nervous systems are trying to protect us. And so that's for lesson 1, which I'm getting ready to end here, is for you to understand that if your nervous system is dysregulated, it's not time to get mad at your body. It's not time to say, oh, I need to fix this. We're going to work on it. But at the end of the day, it's appreciating your body, because all it's been doing is trying to save you. If your body has been stuck in fight or flight, been stuck in survival mode, because you're just, trying to get ahead or just trying to survive, you don't want to get mad at your body. In fact, I think the more mad we get at our bodies, like when we have a disease, or we have a chronic condition, or we have pain, or whatever the case is, or we can't lose weight, whatever the case is, we get mad at our body. And what that really does is it makes it go deeper. Why would you get mad at someone that's trying to protect you? Your body is trying to protect you by keeping you super alert, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Your body is not betraying you. Your body is trying to protect you. So the very first lesson, and then in the next video, we're going to talk about various solutions that are proven, and I have more than I could fit in. I think I'll do 4 or 5 videos on this, and then eventually, you know, I will stop. But there are more things than I can share. I think on the last day, I'll share tools and technology that can help on the last day of this. But the other ones I want to be things that are free and easy for you to use, that you don't have to buy anything for, because absolutely you can do that. But the very first lesson in reducing your stress and understanding, the whole premise of this series is that so you cannot manifest. You cannot manifest. I have 2 different people I work with who are really, one is they both work with some of the tools and techniques for radionics or AO scanner, and really, really want to master manifestation so they can teach it or coach in it or whatever. But first, you have to regulate your own system. If that's you, if you're like, you're maybe a subscriber because you want to learn to teach manifestation, you've got to make sure that you've mastered it first. It's really key. I don't mean you have to be like, I can close my eyes and manifest $1 million, because that's not what manifestation is anyway, right? It's focus and frequency. And if you can imagine what you want and you can feel as if you already have it, that is the key to manifestation. And it will come true at least 80% of the time. And if it doesn't, there's a reason why it didn't, and something better is coming. But that's all part of it, because if you try to manifest something and it didn't come true and you beat yourself up over it, that's not the answer. Part of the manifestation practice is in letting go and accepting. Okay, that's really important. So for starters, just understand that your body is trying to protect you. Stress is not bad. It's here for a reason, and there are ways we're going to deal with it so that you can let your nervous system know that you're safe. And you can just start right now by just telling yourself, you know, thank you, body, for protecting me. Thank you for keeping me safe. I'm okay now. I'm a big girl now, or I'm a big boy now. I'm okay. And just reminding yourself, you know, affirmations isn't even one of them, so I'll just leave you with this today. Affirmations can be really, really effective if you say them with feeling. Like, I am safe. I am safe to attract whatever I want. I am worthy of attracting the things I want. I am worthy of an abundant business. I am safe in all that I do. You know, make a list. Do that every day. I mean, really, what else do you have to do besides scroll TikTok and listen to the news and compare yourself to everyone else online? Take 10 minutes and do this for yourself, because you deserve it. You deserve it. You're safe and you deserve it. Okay, so I hope you like this. Links below if you want to subscribe or sign up for a session. I'd love to talk to you and meet you, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks for watching.